What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to FudgeMuppet. My name is Michael, and today I'm giving you a modded Skyrim build you've all been asking for ever since our renowned Fenrir Skyrim Let's Play. Fenrir Stormblade in the flesh. Now, before we get into his backstory, which I'm sure you're all waiting to hear, Fenrir wants you to open the description box and go watch our video, The Ideal Fallout 4. You can just open it in another tab and pause it for now. Fenrir would also like you to know that we're making lots of Witcher 3 guides for getting certain weapons and armors, but also Witcher 3 builds. Our first Witcher videos have been on how to get Griffin's School armor and weapons, and also unlimited money if that's your thing. In the meantime, let's get on to the Skyrim build, and to begin, what mods you're going to want. Like many builds, the alternate start mod is fantastic for roleplaying, so if you can get that mod, it will ensure you don't have to start as a prisoner. For the weapon, you'll just need the immersive weapons mod, and for the armor, the immersive armors mod. Now, for those of you who didn't watch our brilliant Fenrir Let's Play, Fenrir is a werewolf. Because of this, you're going to want the mod Moonlight Tales. You don't have to get it, but it really helps for roleplaying and immersion. Also, this build can be played without mods if you just want to find yourself any big two-handed weapon and a chunky set of heavy armor. Perhaps Nordic card with the Stormcloak officer's helmet? I know that's a light armor helmet. Tell us in the comments what you think. Also, if this build gets 1,500 likes in the first day, we'll make a guide on how to make the face. If you want to know Fenrir's character super in depth, you're going to have to watch the Let's Plays simply because it would take way too long to go through it all, but seeing as Fenrir's backstory has been a bit vague, here's heaps of detail, keeping in mind that Chapter 2 of the Let's Play and the vampire ending with Serana is not being included. Fenrir was born into the wilds of Skyrim and lived with a caring mother and father. They were hunters, but not the kind that used a bow and arrows. Fenrir's family were werewolves, and he too had been cursed with lycanthropy for as long as he could remember. Whilst Fenrir was a werewolf in a family of werewolves, they viewed their powers as a curse. His family taught him to suppress his bloodlust as much as he could, and for his entire life, including the current time, Fenrir has been trying desperately to remove his inner hunger. Now, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that Fenrir does not know that the companions are werewolves, and therefore he will not be joining them. When asked to join them, he will decline simply because he fears they would attack him should they find out his true nature. Anyways, one night whilst Fenrir was sleeping in the wild with his family, a squad of Silverhand elites arrived and attacked his parents with silver weaponry and werewolf-specific poisons. Fenrir had no time to understand the situation as he was only young, and they told him to flee as he would not be able to defeat them, even in werewolf form. Fenrir had never killed a human before, and the Silverhand elites had killed plenty of werewolves. Fenrir's family are suspected dead, and he had to stay on the run all around Skyrim hunting animals his entire life. His parents had educated him extremely well as a young child, so whilst he did not learn that much more in terms of social conduct and English, he was already as proficient as the average adult. Eventually, Fenrir grew into an adult and decided he had the muscle power to live a normal life. Upon deciding this, he travelled to the closest village to find work. His first job was chopping firewood. Eventually, however, the full moon came and Fenrir was forced into his werewolf form, slaying the village again, being forced to traverse the lands of Skyrim. These were his first of many human kills. He would move from town to town and pick up new professions every time. He would not make the same mistake again, and so he travelled outside of cities whenever there was a full moon. Unfortunately, in his attempts to live a normal life, after many months in the same town, he would get careless or simply not be able to get out of town in time. The cycle would continue and he would always end up killing someone. Constantly moving around Skyrim because of this and learning new skills for new jobs, Fenrir became proficient in quite a few things. He'd been a miner, a blacksmith's apprentice, and even a healer. Fenrir never really had a home, and his inability to live a routine life made him upset. Eventually, travelling by cart for a mining job from Windhelm to Darkwater Crossing, the full moon came around during everyone's sleeping time. Fenrir began to morph, and shifting into a werewolf, he murdered everyone. He awoke in his human form dazed with the awful memories of the gory massacre and decided to go onwards to Riften to again find new work. This time, however, Fenrir had had enough. He was really pissed off about what had happened, and his frustration started to change him. Arriving in Riften, he decided not to take up work. He now had a new idea. Clearly, after decades of failure to suppress his power, he wondered if he could use it for something he'd enjoy. Fenrir was a Nord at heart, and his morals aligned with that of the Stormcloaks, even though he did not really care for the Divines. Fenrir joined them, and upon completing contracts for the Stormcloaks, Fenrir started to enjoy killing humans, and so he used the cause of the Stormcloaks to justify hunting innocents. Ever since the car incident, Fenrir was just different. When you're playing the game, it is now that his abilities are to be abused, and Fenrir is super aggressive. You can also level up your werewolf skill tree by hunting travelers, and using mods that add more traveling NPCs is a great idea. After you complete the Stormcloak storyline as Fenrir and fully max out your werewolf skill, this is the time when Fenrir begins to reflect upon his actions. Now his false cause has been finished, and he has no way to lie to himself about what he is doing. He then decides to follow his Dragonborn cause to find kills within the main storyline, however he ultimately wants to redeem himself. He eventually learns to be peaceful in High Hrothgar. The Greybeards teach him how to make peace with his werewolf powers, and he uses meditation to stay calm. He fosters serenity within his mind, and will then use his werewolf powers only to fight against dragons and any type of enemy that isn't a race you can play as. Basically, only be a werewolf against enemies that aren't human in figure. The armor Fenrir is using is a full set of Stormlord armor from the Immersive Armors mod, as well as the Thresher Maul from the Immersive Weapons mod. All of this will be smithed up. Your skills therefore are smithing to smith this all up, two-handed to use your massive warhammer to smash enemies to bits, restoration to heal yourself and use heal other after you become peaceful and trust yourself with a companion, and heavy armor to fortify your armor rating, and not to mention win brawls with higher unarmed damage. The perk link you will need can be found in the description alongside links to all our awesome social media pages, and remember, get all the werewolf perks. By the way, you've probably realized Fenrir Stormblade doesn't use a Stormblade, but if you want, you can enchant a greatsword with shock damage and invest in perks for greatswords instead. You can also use the Stormcall Shout in the midst of battle. The playstyle for Fenrir Stormblade is nice and simple. When aggressive, use werewolf form as much as you want, and when not in werewolf form, simply run in and swing your warhammer wildly to start crushing bones. After you finish killing enemies in human form, you can then turn into a werewolf and eat them. If you get damaged, you can have the ability to back off and heal. As a werewolf, however, you'll have to constantly devour corpses on the move. When you've become more peaceful after meeting the Greybeards, you won't use werewolf form if it jeopardizes the lives of human, elf, or beast race blood. Simply use the Smash 'em Up playstyle with healing, and also use a companion and heal them too. Werewolf form should be reserved simply for travel and killing creatures. The stat spread for Fenrir Stormblade is 60% health, 20% magicka, and 20% stamina. Magicka and stamina are just for basic gameplay so you can use all your skills and whatnot, and the main emphasis is on health, and this is because, well, Fenrir is a tank. You don't want to die, and this build is meant to be sturdy. To make the build even sturdier, we're using our favorite standing stone, the Lord Stone, for 50 more points of armor rating and a 25% increase to magical resistance. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our Skyrim modded build of the week, Fenrir Stormblade. Now you can do Hircine's quest as well if you want, and just for you, remember we've put the perk link in the description. Also, if you like this video or if you hate it but for some reason you want to see how we made the face, give it a thumbs up, and if we get 1,500 likes, you'll get a face guide. Also, remember that Fenrir wants you to check out the ideal Fallout 4 in the description box, and also to prepare yourself for our Witcher 3 game guides and builds. That's right, Fenrir loves games just like you. Anyways, my name was Michael, it's still Michael, and I'll see you very soon with more gaming videos.